Hey, John.
There we go. Had a little delay there. Seems like we're getting a little weird delay going on. I don't know what that is, but figure
Yeah, yeah, but we're here. Hey, what a
it
great week. We just got over the primaries. How exciting that was.
right. Yeah, locally it was a good turnout and good results. So I mean, we can't beat that. I think the tide's turning. I think I kind of feel that shift happening, and things are going to start working out our way no matter what. There's nothing's going to get in the way of what's appointed, and that's what you can tell by the election results so far.
Yeah, the vibe was great. The energy was great. We've got some grassroots candidates winning their races. This is fantastic, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And of course, we've got one of those candidates here today. That would be Jackie
Right,
Rosario. And, for those people of you out there that don't really know Dr. Rosario, she was first elected to the school board in 2018. And she's going to be serving her last term. This is going to be her final term. So we got to put the pressure on her to make it her hoopla. This is going to be her great year, to kick it off and end it off, at the end of her term. But
right.
Dr. Rosario is a well rounded educator. Her accomplishments include doctoral work in educational law at Liberty University, and she's got a master's in divinity, educational administration, special education, and deaf education. Did you guys know that? And a bachelor's in social science, linguistics, focused on ESL education. She has more than 3 decades of education. So we've got such a well rounded board member. How could you not vote for Dr. Rosario, right?
Right. No, that's true. That's what I hear all over town. So
I
obviously
know.
that's the case.
I know, and she's always pulling something out of the sleeves. I mean, Dr. Rosario has also been involved in the district's parental rights policies, and she's been a strong supporter and advocate for the creation of Pelican Island Classical Magnet School. What an achievement. And so guys, you need to stick around and watch this interview with Dr. Rosario.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. This is her full circle culmination now. Her last term, making it all the way through, winning all the elections. I mean, you can't beat that. That's
Mhm.
pretty impressive.
I know we're going to have to see if, she's going to probably be the headline in the Sunshine Journal many times this term.
Yep. All over.
So don't forget, guys, read the Sunshine Journal. Go to
Yeah.
Thomas Augustus at substack.com.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think some other news outlets need to owe her apology too for
That's right.
saying she was going to lose. So,
Oh my gosh. I know she won, what was that, 51.8%?
whew, yeah, wild.
Woo! 24 out of 35 precincts.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
I
but we've
know.
come a long way, I mean, and this is it. This is the culmination. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say and what's coming for the future. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, yeah, we've got great people here in Indian River County. So let's take a break. We have some ads that we need to run for our sponsors, and then we'll be back.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pippin, and I'm running for Indian River County Commission District 2. As a wife, mother, and longtime community advocate, I've spent years standing up for taxpayers, families, and government accountability. I'm running to protect our quality of life, support law enforcement, manage growth responsibly, and ensure your tax dollars are spent wisely. To learn more, request a yard sign, volunteer, or get involved, visit votejenniferpippin.com. Together, we can keep Indian River County the best place to live, work, and raise a family. I'm looking forward to earning your vote on August 18th.
Because the Dave Scott Jam is cranking every Wednesday night at Filthy's Fine Cocktails and Beer. Join Dave Scott live from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. for an evening of incredible music, cold drinks, and a great local atmosphere right in the heart of Vero Beach. You'll find Filthy's at 1236 16th Street, Vero Beach, Florida. And be sure to come back on the second Thursday of every month when IRC Media broadcasts the Conspiracy Club 101 Live from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Dave Scott Jam. Every Wednesday night. Filthy's Fine Cocktails and Beer, where the music never stops.
That was good. Mike did a good job on that.
Yeah, he did. He did. Well,
So,
let's not wait. Let's bring Jackie on up.
all right.
Hey, Jackie. Welcome
Hi,
aboard.
how are you
Wow.
guys?
Good.
Doing good. So excited for you.
Congrats. I wish I was able to be there the other night, but we do our TGNL podcast on Tuesday. So, but
Oh,
we covered the election on the show, so that was kind of cool watching the numbers change. And I was like, oh, I think Jackie. I don't know if she's going to make it. I'm like, oh, I was getting worried, and I was like, oh man, all right, well, we'll see what happens. And then we went live, and I pulled it up, and Mike had it on our website, and then the percentages changed, everything flipped, and I was like, wow. I was like, look at that.
yeah, it was a nail biter for a little while. I'll admit I got a little nervous there.
I know, right?
I
Yeah, I
know.
did too.
It was just so close there. We were just in suspense, just watching it. Like, when are those numbers going to come?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I think I'm usually low during mail-in ballots,
Yeah.
but for the day of, votes, I pick up speed. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the residents. I'm grateful to the voters. I'm grateful to all of my friends and all of the supporters who came out and who donated, who waved signs, who just showed up,
All
and
the
who
support.
gave a word of encouragement or, did whatever they did on their behalf, just to make sure that I won, that we won.
Well,
And it's so humbling. It's really, really humbling. I'm grateful.
So, Jackie, what do you believe that result says about what Indian River County voters want from their school district?
Yeah, I think it says a whole lot, but most importantly, that values matter. I'm a values based person, candidate, and I think for the most part, 51.8% of the voters believe in strong values here in Indian River County, and they don't want that voice to be lost. So that's why I think that they voted me in. I think also it says that they are proud of the record that I have held. As a school board member, I don't have individual power. We vote as a board, but the voice that I carry from the dais is not my own. It's really the voice of the people. And so um, that's something that I think the residents resonate with, that they understand that I don't have a personal agenda and that I'm there to try to represent the best that we have to offer of the residents and from the residents and for the residents. And that's the most important thing.
So, Jackie, the school year has started and it's underway. What are you hearing from parents, teachers, and staff about the biggest challenges facing our school this year?
This year, it's really transitioning. This is a year of lots of transitions in our district, and I think just getting used to all of the changes that have happened. That's the biggest challenge right now, which really isn't a huge thing to face. I think overall we can see this through. But we've had a lot of schools, closed, and we had others open, and we have students changing from one school to another because of the low enrollment in our district. And there were, some challenges with buses beginning at the beginning of the year. But we are quickly picking up pace and correcting all of those things that needed to be corrected. And so we're on the right track right now.
So, I have to ask you about the latest news that we all just heard, Dr. Moore retiring at the end of the school year. So, what are your thoughts on that announcement?
Well, I predicted this a few meetings ago. I called it out at a meeting, at a workshop,
yep.
and I actually asked him point blank. I said I could read between the tea leaves actually, and I could hear there was a different tone and a different message that he was sharing. It was a conversation that we had about the strategic plan, and I, asked, it sounds like you are not just planning for next year. It sounds like you're not coming back, or you're intending not to come back. Is that true? And he's he didn't answer, and
That was a giveaway.
He pleaded the fifth. He pleaded the fifth.
he pleaded. I mean, he gave an answer, but it wasn't like a flat out yes or no, you know. And I followed up with, I at some point in my life I wanted to be a lawyer, and I just never did it. And you laugh, John, but it is true. And I probably should have. And I got a chuckle out of, a lot of the people in the room at the time. You can go back and we can pull the video so you can see it. It was pretty comical.
Yep.
I guess it's that, yeah. I guess that part in me that that I noticed he didn't answer, and I called him out on that. I said, "You didn't answer the question, like yes or no, basically."
Yeah.
And he, in his way, said that he didn't have plans to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I could feel it, and I knew it wasn't a flat out no.
Yeah.
I could see, some changes in recent months, and I just predicted that sometime within maybe 6 months or a year, we were going to receive notice. It was much sooner than expected. Obviously, I received the email just like everybody else the day before, most other people did. So I kind of was expecting it, and I'm sad, but I understand that he wants to retire, and I'm glad that he's giving us a year. He's given us almost 7 years thus far, and we really have come a long way. Dr. Moore knows that I support him wholeheartedly. Academically, he's done amazing things. System-wise, he's also done amazing things. There are other areas that I have concerns with, but overall, his presence is going to be missed, and we just have to move on.
So with that being said, I got to ask you this. With that being said, do you believe the school board should look for a continuation of Dr. Moore's direction, or is this an opportunity for a fresh start?
Well,
Well,
it's definitely. I mean, we don't have a choice. We're going to have a fresh start somehow or another. The systems that he has in place, they're good systems. I wouldn't be against continuing the same system that we have now, and just having someone maybe tweak some things in their own way, as most superintendents might do. But I would, what I'm not in favor of is having someone come in and redo everything.
Right.
That's not something that I'm in favor of, because we have really shifted tides for the last 6 or 7 years, and so many people are now on this path towards success. We have 23 of 24 of our schools as an A right now. Why would we want to do anything different? You don't want to fix anything that's not broken, because otherwise I think it'll just be a mess. So I think that it would be, to answer your question, probably smart for us to continue on the same path of the systems that he has created and put forth, and see where we go from there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, you can still look at other directions. Obviously, if enrollment's falling off a little bit, I think that's part of the writing on the wall for him deciding to leave, because he knows that this has been going on for a while. And I spoke to him a few times about things like this, and I told him that the enrollments are going to drop now. People are going to start doing a little more homeschooling. People are waking up. They're seeing the writing on the wall, so they know that they have an option now. Before, people didn't have an option. They really couldn't do the homeschool as much as you could in the past, and change for that. So I think that's part of it. And then also, obviously, in giving a year, I mean, it makes sense to a certain extent, but at the same time, like you said, his demeanor change, and I saw that in that workshop as well. And you and I are similar when it comes to that. I was wanting to be a lawyer myself too, and I never dove into that obviously, but I could read the body language, and I'm good at that, and I can read that how that happens, and you can see the writing on the wall that yeah, it's time for me to move on. So
Mhm.
kudos to him, and like you said, it's things have gotten better in certain areas, but there's certain spots where there's he sees that it's going to be tough to sustain what he's doing, and so why not go out on top?
So, they say it's always hard to find a good superintendent and those interviews. So, because he's given his announcement, does that mean they start looking early for a new superintendent so that they can interview many and get the right one in place?
Well, we'll start having that conversation on Monday, and we'll see where the board goes. I would like to see us look into our options. It doesn't happen overnight. It certainly should take place as soon as possible. And what I mean by that is that our conversation should start as soon as possible, because it takes forever for decisions to be made, and then for if we're going to, for example, when we hired Dr. Moore, we hired an outside agency to help us with the recruiting efforts. And that doesn't happen overnight either. So it took us about a year last time to hire Dr. Moore, to begin the process and hire Dr. Moore. So I don't suspect that we're going to wait a year and then start the process. I certainly think that we should start having those conversations right away. I'm sure we're going to start on Monday because we have meetings on Monday. And, you know, yeah.
So, what are the qualities that the board would be looking at for a superintendent?
Well, when we looked for Dr. Moore, we looked for someone who had educational experience, someone with a doctorate degree. We looked for someone who was a change agent,
What's that?
someone who had experience flipping schools from, for example, failing schools to succeeding schools, A's and B's. Someone who had experience with transformation within schools or the school district, and he certainly fit the bill as the transformational the assistant superintendent of transformation over in Miami. I think he had a different title, but more or less that's what he was doing over there. He checked off all the boxes, and as a result, we had a template that we used. There was a rubric every school board member had in front of them, and it was a good, fair process. I like that process a lot. It took a lot of the personality out of it. It took a lot of the arguments between board members. We didn't have to argue. We each had our own rubric. We checked off the things that we could see on this rubric. And at the end of the day, we all unanimously believed that he was the best candidate. And certainly he was. But the question is, do we go with an outside organization or do we select someone from within? That's the biggest question. And I think that's the discussion that needs to happen, because there would be, I think, a different process. There could potentially be a different process. But again, we'll have that discussion on Monday.
Yeah, it seems like a really tough process because I remember the last few, when we hired Rendell and we had to go outsource, and you're interviewing people that aren't even from Indian River County. They're coming from other locations. So you have to figure all these people out. They travel. So it seems like it would take a long process to find the right superintendent to come in and
Yeah.
move in and have all those qualities. But Jackie, you've got 4 years. What are you going to do after 4 years? Because you sound like you have those qualifications.
Oh, I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up.
Right.
But we'll see. Whatever door the Lord opens up, that's the door that I'm going to go through.
Right.
So all the schools that transition, they're doing pretty good. They've got good enrollment, and
Yeah.
do they have all the teachers they need?
Yes. everything seems to be a-okay. All the teachers that they need, everyone has been hired. From what I understand, everything is seamless right now. Teachers are teaching to the curriculum, and for each school, each elementary, middle, and high school, and we're on track. I mean, the kids are enjoying their first days of school, and enrollment is not quite above what was projected, but we'll get the final counts potentially on Monday.
So is Monday one of those count days that they do in the beginning of the year?
No, the 10-day count was a few days ago, but when I say we, I mean the board. I don't believe that we have received it yet. And so we'll get the final numbers anytime. Well, it's already Friday, so Monday.
So I've seen several schools have gotten new signs outside of the schools. The school right down the road from me is Oslo, and they're a magnet school now. And it's weird seeing a K through 1. The whole bus loop area is now where they pick up the K through 1.
Yeah.
So that whole area has changed. I was like, oh man, they're still getting used to this whole new parent drop off and pickup. I'm
Yeah.
not used to seeing it right there on 20th Avenue for the K. I'm not used to seeing K at all. They got the little babies coming in now.
Yeah, they're so cute. That's the
They
part of the
are.
transition that everyone is going through, right? Trying to understand. Obviously, Oslo Middle School doesn't exist anymore. It is now Osceola Magnet, and Osceola Magnet is a K. Includes now kindergarteners K through 8.
Yeah.
So they now have a different loop for their K1s as they do for everybody else. Yeah, so that's part of the transition, is learning the school building layout is going to be different. Classrooms are going to be different setup. Um, how parents come in, how parents come out. I helped them one day with their parent pickup with the little ones. So cute. Oh my gosh, but some kids were crying because they didn't see their parents in the loop yet. But there's a lot of cars.
Oh yeah.
And it's always a little chaotic the first days of school, but after a while, people will know the routine and it'll get faster. But again, that transition even happens for community members, just like you. You drive by, you're just not used to seeing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And are they still doing half-day startups for kindergartners? Do they still do that?
They do. Yes, we did have that half-day startups, and then that was just from the beginning, though. It was kind of like an orientation, and then yes, we did.
Oh, so now the kindergartners are doing their full days at school.
From what I understand, yes, I might be wrong.
That
But
is such a long day.
I mean, I might be wrong, but I think that it is a full day. I'll find out for you for sure.
Yeah, I remember when I was a teacher's aide and we did the kindergartners, and when they went to full days, they were just falling asleep at lunchtime and just they could not get up.
Well, I mean, they need their nap.
They
So
do.
many kindergartners
It's
or
so cute.
kindergarten classes now, even in the daycare centers, they've eliminated nap. Like, why would you do something like that?
Oh,
No, they need it. They need it. They'll be sitting in there. If they don't have a nap, they'll just be sitting at their desk and just crash.
I know. You need to let them rest. They need to recoup so that they have energy for the rest of the afternoon. Yeah, yeah.
So, how many schools have you visited so far?
Uh,
I
all of
think,
the all of the elementary schools, and I've been to one, two, I think two middle schools. I haven't gone to the high schools yet. I need to get to Storm Grove. Haven't gone to Storm Grove yet, and to the high schools. Um, yeah, but I've gone to all the other ones. Everyone else. My time was a little caught, you know, a little cut off last weekend because I brought my son to college. So I had to leave Friday and come back on Monday. So I missed 2 days of visiting schools. But
so you're an empty nester now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. That's a good break for you. You need it.
Well,
Yeah, and he's so tall. Where did he get that height from? My goodness.
he has an uncle. His dad is tall, and his uncle is like 6'7" or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we're very excited that you won your primaries. Does that mean you're the general election because you won with 51 points, or do you still go through to the general election?
No, I don't go through because there were only two candidates on the ballot. So no, I'm not going to be in the November on the November ballot. Thank goodness.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah. I would do
Because
that.
First time that I'm
yeah, I
not going
remember the
to
last time you had
November.
to.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh,
Well,
that just drags
that
on.
that was against think it was Gibbs. Is that the name? Gibbs?
Cindy Gibbs, yeah, Cindy
Yep.
Gibbs was my last.
opponent. Yeah.
And, mhm.
And then you had to do the
Well,
general
I
election.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank goodness, because I'll tell you what, I was so glad I was at Second Amendment and heard everybody scream so loud when those numbers kicked in, because
Yeah.
there was so much suspense seeing you scoring below, and it was so tight. I thought the building was going to fall.
I know the roar was
Oh
pretty
my!
loud.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
It
That's
I
really was.
I can almost promise you, if you were sitting in the park, you heard everybody inside the building.
right. That's funny.
Well, everyone started cheering for Jennifer Pippin. For those people who don't know,
Yeah.
she and we shared the evening together, and she is who is now on the ballot for November for County Commission District 2. Her messages, her notes, or I mean, notes, the numbers came in for her first. So the cheers just started for her. And then it was mine. Then it was like,
Uh,
oh, you know, and I was kind of in shock. I took out my camera to try to get the cheers for her.
yeah.
Didn't realize that then my numbers came up.
Huh. And
Yeah,
then it
look
went
at you
right.
ladies. You ladies were like, "Woo!"
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's how we were when we were doing it live on the TGI Now podcast. We were
Yeah.
up, and I was like watching it like that closely. It's kind of ironic too, because when we first started all this stuff in the podcast and IRC media, like we weren't even doing like we had to get the results and then like pass it on to the podcast. Now we were doing things in real time like we're doing now. It's kind of
Hmm.
cool. We've
Hmm.
come this far to be able to get the information out to the public on who's who they should try to lean towards and do their due diligence and get to know the candidates personally, because we weren't doing this before. Like, this is a different theme. We weren't doing these type of podcasts, so now it's kind of cool to see that work out the way it did.
Well,
Yeah.
and the Second Amendment really put on a great buffet, and they kept bringing it out. All the food was delicious. The screen up there that they had so that we could hook up to it and run the numbers for everybody to see. It was such a great venue that you guys had, and I didn't even know that they served all of that. That I was like, "Whoa, I got to keep this place in mind."
Yeah.
So, Second
I've
Amendment
had,
really did a good job.
their food is delicious. It really is delicious. And yeah, the service is impeccable. Everything about the owner's vision and drive is really something to be commended. So yeah, it really was wonderful, and he did allow us to use the televisions.
Mhm.
Thomas Kenny and Ryan Blade, I have to think of his name.
Yep,
They
they were.
worked together to connect the televisions with the computer systems,
Uh,
just so that we could see the scores. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it worked out.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's Second Amendment Distillery, if anybody doesn't know what I'm referring to. That's just
Yeah.
downtown across from the park where the Heritage Center is.
And that's
Uh,
cool that you read the Second Amendment, which is like kind of funny. They're like the whole thing, constitutional thing. And that's kind of funny. We should have them as a sponsor on the show. I'll have to reach out to them. That's cool.
yeah, they've done a great job opening that little place there. I remember when it didn't serve food, and now it served food, and that was the first time I've ever seen that little smorgasbord there, and I was like, man, this stuff is really good. And their meatballs were like this big.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I love meatballs.
Their chicken wings and deviled eggs are my favorite.
The deviled eggs were to die for. They were so good. What are they putting in those deviled eggs? I've never eaten a
I
deviled
don't
egg.
know, but they don't taste anything like we make at home. It's so good.
No. Oh, it was, I think there was a hint of bacon in there.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it was so delicious. But you girls put on a fabulous venue. The little robot that took everybody's pictures. The group and the camaraderie there was just, it was a night I will never forget. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. The robot, her name is, I'm going to say Lenzy, as in camera lens.
Okay.
She is a photo booth kind of thing.
Okay.
We have her in some of our photos on social media. But she's owned by a friend of Jennifer's who has this photo van, a van, to take photos for, events and birthdays or weddings and things like that. And so Lindsay, I think that's her name, Lindsay, was there at the event with us. And that was so cool. It really was. And you
It
can
was.
dress her up. You can dress her up. And she had on a crown and a scarf, a red and white, red, white, and blue scarf to commemorate the moment. So
Yeah,
she was a good addition.
yeah, it was a great evening. Well, that was great. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you're busy, but it's such a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad again for you both, my friends, and all of my family, and again all of the residents, all of Indian River County. Everyone showed up. We showed off,
Yep.
and we made a statement loud and clear. And I'm grateful. I'm
And
humble. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. All the things.
yeah, and the 12-year term I think is the perfect length of time because of the transitions that we've seen the school go through. So it's really helped to have somebody there that has experienced those transitions and been able to work them out, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's perfect.
it's actually two terms, but two 8-year terms, not 12. I would have 12 only because I grandfathered in one term, and then the law changed for 2 terms. So
Okay, so now it's 8.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
so it's 8. Yeah.
Huh.
So those board members who are currently serving in their second term, they won't be able to run again.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
This would be my last, and it was so sad because today I was getting rid of some of my signs.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
you don't have to keep them.
I have some of these signs that I've saved for the last 8 years, and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I felt so bad,
Yeah. What are you gonna do with them? Yeah. Like,
discarding. Well, you got to discard. I mean, I'm not I can't run again, so.
yeah. I know.
Um,
Yeah.
and then
Well, what a relief. You don't have to store them anymore.
I don't. Well, yeah, that's true, but I just
Yeah.
felt bad. Like they've been such a part of me.
Right.
And they're good signs. I've had some for 8 years. They're really good signs. Like I don't want to throw them out.
Right. I know. It's something you can do with them. I can't. I'm trying to think of something you could do with them. There really isn't anything.
Well, if you have any shirts left, you can make like one of those little shirt blankets that people do for
Oh,
memorabilia,
what a
That's a
great
good.
idea!
That's a good idea. Yeah.
you
What
know?
a great idea!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea.
Do that for sure. Yeah.
You
With
just throw it
signs.
over yourself, stuff it, throw it over yourself when you're sitting on the couch
Right.
watching TV or something.
Cool.
Nice memorabilia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to have Jen come on and
Yeah.
talk about her election because that was really a long election for her, a lot of work. I mean, she was getting up at 1 in the morning to put her signs out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
she worked so hard. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
She will be on the November ballot, so we all have to get out and vote for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She is such a warrior. She's such a fighter. She's got an incredible message for the voters. You know, family first, residents first, Indian River County first,
Yep.
and then everything else comes after. And I think that's important because that resonates with people. I don't know if we've ever had a candidate that has said, you know, for commissioner, that has said family first,
No.
Indian River County first.
Yep.
I think that's one of the things that made Trump stand out, because he was an America First president, and so that message, it hits home,
Yeah.
and it's what happens. You know, it's part of the conversations of the things that really matter at the kitchen table, and she speaks to the heart of those issues, and so. I believe that she's going to be a great commissioner, and I hope everyone gets out and votes for her.
Yeah, she is. She is going to be a great commissioner. She brings the receipts to the table. She reads. She's not lazy about looking things over. She will do her research. You know, a lot of times, you know, you hear commissioners in their commissions and they haven't really done any research, and they
Yeah,
have to make these decisions, or they're making they're letting other people do the research and they're not going behind them to check up on the research. You know,
yeah,
even you did that on the board, you know,
Oh yeah.
somebody
You,
does the research, but then you follow up and you found things that were missing,
you
yeah.
schooled the
the lack of
lawyer.
transparency.
You schooled the lawyer that was there not that long ago, a couple
I know,
times.
that was pretty
He
interesting.
was just like, "What? Where?" He was started glitching out, and I'm like, "Oh, Jackie just like schooled him. He didn't see that coming." That was the lawyer in you coming. That was coming out. That was
Yeah,
all.
right. That was
You
the
did.
lawyer. But you know, that just goes, and he was a really good lawyer.
I
But that
know.
just goes to show you that having discussions, having tough discussions, and allowing those discussions to happen is important, because you miss these details. If my conversation hadn't been had with the attorney, we would have had a completely different outcome that night.
Yeah, that's true.
But because I persisted and I continued, he then recognized that I was accurate and he stood corrected.
Yeah.
But he wasn't mad about it. You know, it was just, thank you for telling me, thank you for pointing out something that I didn't see before.
Yeah, he didn't
And
see it.
that's what happens. That's what the opportunity that we miss when you have board members who want to shut down a conversation because you're talking too long, or because,
Right.
you know, I've heard enough and I just don't want to hear you anymore. That's wrong. That's not good governance, because you're making decisions based on part information. If you don't have the full details or the full information for something, then you're going to make a poor decision at the end. And then you got to clean it up. It's just a mess. So that's part of what Jennifer does too. Is she does the research, but she's also able to have these tough conversations and pivot.
Yeah.
You know, if she is wrong on an idea, I've seen it happen. Or if I need to correct something that I'm saying, I've been in that situation where I'm like, okay, then I stand corrected. Then I need to be, I need to understand all of these aspects, or some of the things that I'm missing. But again, that's part of good governance and making good decisions, is being fully aware and being willing to pivot when you need to.
Yeah, discussion stimulates the mind and it stimulates curiosity, it stimulates questioning, reasoning, all of that. It stimulates all of that. If you don't question things and if you don't have that conversation where you can, it shuts it down. It doesn't
Yeah,
go anywhere.
Well, you seek to understand before being understood. So you understand it first, and then then you understand, and then you get to the bottom of it. You know, instead of going back and forth, like you said, shutting it down. A lot of times, I've seen some board members say, "Oh, I just leave it to the attorney, let him handle it." You know, I just leave it to they're the experts. You know, it's like, yeah, they're the experts, but at the same time, they don't know everything. So
right.
they have to understand what's going on too, because it's a situation they're put in. They're sitting there on a board, you know, listening to everybody, what everybody's doing. They have to be on their feet, you know, to be able to, you know, jump on things. Is this correct? And well, I don't know, you know. And then you do your research, and you're like, well, okay, actually, it's not correct. This is the way it should be. You know? And then
Hmm.
I can absorb that and appreciate that. It's just you're just building a good relationship. That's good.
That's
And
right.
it creates transparency too, because people see that conversation happening and working things out. That's how you work things out.
True.
And then everybody else watching it learns from that whole conversation that, hey, they're working things out. This is how things should be done. But if they see the board members of people just shutting people down, then that's the only thing they're seeing. And then when they go up to talk, they feel like it's going to happen to them.
Hmm.
Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. I know that feeling.
I know, John. I tried.
I
look,
gotta say, the
look
school
where it's
board has
got
come
us,
a
right?
long way.
Look where we're at. Dr. Moore got me to retire early, so so kudos to him for giving a year's notice. I didn't get a year's notice. I got an hour's notice,
Yeah,
and then I was retired.
that was not
Same here. Same here.
Right?
I
that was
know.
not fair.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but it had to happen. So this is the beauty of it. So this is why we're doing what we're doing, because I wouldn't be doing this if that didn't happen. So so it's all like you said, Jackie. I go where God leads me to go, and that was where He
Right.
led. That's where He led me to go. Was like, I need you to go out there and speak up for the kids, and don't worry what happens. I got your back. And that's what
Yeah.
I did. And I knew that. I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so that's what I'll do. And then the aftermath, and you're just like, oh wow, that's crazy. But then you realize that it was all for a purpose. So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always hard when it affects your income,
Yeah, of course.
when it affects your career because you got to start over. You got to figure out, oh, where am I going?
Yeah,
Espe- Especially if you're a contract employee and you can't even get unemployment, you
yeah,
just, when they cut you off, you're cut off.
yeah. No, that's right. But it always God will provide. So that's now I have a studio in my house. So I have a podcast studio. Who would have thought then, Jackie, when I got kicked out of the board meeting, that I would have a podcast studio in my house?
I probably would have thought it because you're very, let's get the message out.
Yeah. Well,
You're focused on
that's
that.
yeah. That was the whole point. Yeah, you have to be you have to use your voice. People tell me I'm a projector, so I have to project my voice in a direction that will help get the message out there, and
Right.
it makes sense at this point. I was like, oh, that makes total sense. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. So we're just leading the charge, and it seems to be working. So, and we appreciate your support as well.
Oh, I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of Yeah, a lot of people are watching the board report,
Oh yeah.
and it's helping spread some news and share some information. And that's what we really wanted to do for Indian River County because it was only getting one side of the story.
Mhm. Yeah, so true. That's what I said when we first started this. I was like, well, we got to counter what's going on the beach side. Like, you see what they wrote about me. like, they called me a bully. Like, I can't stand for that. We gotta do something about this. We got to counter it. And that was a big part of it. And even Ray McNulty, and God rest his soul, but he was countering a lot of the things that we were trying to accomplish. He was making
Yeah.
it difficult to get the voice out there, and unfortunately, it's not the case that his voice isn't available anymore. And again, it's all happens for a reason, and so that's why we started this.
Yeah.
Yep, and the Sunshine Journal,
Yeah,
right? Thomas writes some really good articles and keeps up with the school district. Wrote about a lot of things. He's writing about he wrote about your election. I mean, he's covering a lot of stories.
Yeah.
yeah. He
He
was
is.
called to purpose too. Remember, he ran for school board, and obviously he didn't win, but he was able to see what it was like on the other side of the rope. Like I see what it's like to run for this, but his strength is writing. And I told him that when I met with him to collaborate with us for the board report. I was like, yeah, Tom, if you already see what it's like to be a candidate, you understand the process, you go to the meetings, you do your research. So why not do it all in your own thing, and then and bring it to the board report from time to time as well. I want him to do his own show, but he doesn't have the time now. So
Well, I've always mentioned, I keep saying, we really, him, myself, and Jennifer probably need to do one
yeah,
together, the three of
yeah,
us. Because sometimes we can just talk for hours about stuff. But
yeah, that would be a good show actually.
it's not nonsensical stuff. It's
Yeah,
actually things that matter. And sometimes I'm like, we need to have these discussions on a podcast or something because
yeah, yeah,
people
so,
need to hear this.
yeah, yeah.
The
No,
answer, the back and forth, the questions, what do you mean? Where did you get that? And it's it's interesting how you can have really great friends to have these kinds of discussions with, other than family things going on. But it's rare that you find your circle, or your friendship, your local friendship, I guess, that have the same interests. Because you can have friends, and you guys, everybody has different interests, but in this area, we just do, and the conversations just flow, and everyone has their own gifts. And Thomas is, I don't know, he's like savant with the numbers. He just remembers numbers and facts, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, right. It's
I don't
true.
know.
Does.
It's true.
But that's his gift, and I love it. I love that he has that gift, and it's wonderful.
But
And
that's I think that's why he pauses sometimes. You know how sometimes he takes his time talking? It's because the wheels are turning, you know, and he's got all that information and he's like disseminating it so it comes out just exactly how he wants it to sound.
he's
It's
going
very
through
true.
a file of information.
Well, I've seen him do that at board meetings where he would be about to speak about a certain topic, and then somebody would speak about something else before him, two, three people before him, and he'd go up there and do a completely different speech,
Yeah.
all the way because of something somebody else said, and he bounced it off of that and went completely off of what he was going to say, and it was always like it was like the smart move. It was like he was going with his instinct, and I noticed that about him when he does that. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I bet you if you could lift his cap up and look into his brain, you'd be amazed.
Right? Right? Oh my God, that's great.
Probably. Probably.
We're talking about Thomas and he's not even here.
That's all right. He's
I know
watching.
he's not here to defend himself. But so there's I'm going to misquote. I don't even remember who it was. There was uh, some gentleman who studied the brains of men and women. And just for the audience sake, I've got to find out who it is, and I'll share it with you in case anybody texts you or emails like, what is she talking about? And he gave a presentation at a marriage conference. And it was more comical, but it was based on real research where they studied how a male brain and a female brain works. And they connected the brains with probes and gave, I guess, stimuli,
Oh, wow.
and kind of checked to see what went off in
Stimulation.
brains. And in the men's brain, there were little like squares, I guess. One area would go off at a time for each stimuli.
Mm-hmm.
For a woman, it was more like spaghetti. Everything was connected to everything, and everything went all together at the same time, and nothing was isolated. And so it's no wonder why women are such multitaskers.
Well,
Because
it's
like our
well,
brains
because
are all over the place.
it's logical. It's men are more logical and women are more emotional. So it becomes the emotional thing. Everything I can't quiet my brain. Where men are more like just it's a little more methodical about. Okay, wait a minute.
Right.
Like let's wait to think about this for a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do this. We got to go that way. We got to make a left. Go this way. No, hold on. Let me turn the radio down. Where are we going? Like you have to. It's step by steps. That kind of makes sense. I
Yeah.
like that analogy.
That's so funny.
And then his last point, it was hilarious. The whole audience just burst out laughing because he says, and there's always one section that has nothing in it. And it's always a good section because when you ask a man, what are you thinking? And he says nothing, he's genuinely saying nothing.
Yeah.
But there's
He means
nothing
it,
on my
nothing.
mind.
Right? It's true.
Like with us, you can't say nothing because there's always something on our mind.
Yeah. It's a good point. I
You know
can't
you're in
deny that.
trouble when your wife says nothing.
Yeah, right.
That means she's pissed.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well,
But anyway,
that's funny.
I gotta find out who said that. I just
Yeah,
saw
send
it.
it to me.
Was
Yeah.
it Dr. Daniel Amen?
I'm not sure.
I was trying to
Maybe.
look up doctors that did that. I came up with a Dr. Amen.
I'm not sure. I promise I will look for it and I will try to find it. Send
All
it to
right.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
I'm not making it up.
interesting. Oh, that would be so interesting, but I love the women having little everything going everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, well, that was a great evening. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you
We're
so
very
much for
excited for
having
you.
me.
yep. Thank you. Yeah, we
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Thank
Congratulations again.
you.
Looking forward to a great year.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody. Great. Have a great weekend. And again, thank you to all of the voters and all of the residents. I'm grateful, I'm honored, and I'm looking forward to having the next 4 years of all good stuff happening in Indian River County.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, that was a great interview. I love Jackie Rosario.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, that
Don't-
was. She got all kinds of knowledge, all kinds of experience, and it definitely pays off. That's awesome.
You know, with her background in 4 years, I think she would make a great superintendent.
Yeah, I agree. No, you're 100% right. I totally agree, and that could be the next step for her. Who knows?
Yeah, I think because she's already accomplished so much with the school district and been such a integral part of it.
Yeah,
So it's
qualifications are there. I mean, it's just she's got the experience that's already on the resume, and then of course getting her doctorates. I mean, it's all lining up for her. So maybe that's where she lands, or maybe even she starts her own school. Who knows?
oh wow, that would be awesome too.
You never know with the great wealth transfer coming. Who knows? She'll be like, oh, look at that! I got some funds. I can build my own school. So you
Yeah.
never know.
So John, what do you got going on coming up? Let our viewers know.
Nothing too crazy right now. I don't have any guests lined up for the next TGI Now podcast, and then we're just getting ready for the next Conspiracy Club podcast, which won't be until September. So that's all I got on the plate right now. It's kind of slow, summertime, so not too much going on.
Yeah, I've got next Thursday, I'll be interviewing Steve Meyer. He's with the Teamsters Union. So I wanted to get him on to talk about the unions because in 2023 they changed the law and then in 2026. So it's kind of making it harder for the unions to keep their memberships.
Oh,
So I
okay.
wanted to learn more about that and talk to him about that and how does that affect, the police,
Yeah,
the firemen, even the public civil staff, learn about that. Because some people kind of have a bad feeling about unions because some of the bigger unions really kind of take advantage, but at the same time, do we really need unions? And what is the benefit of having them? So we're
yeah.
going to have those conversations next Thursday on Binford Chronicles.
Nice, beautiful,
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah,
So,
that'll be a good one. And then we'll start lining up some more candidates for this show again going into November. I think we got a couple more people that want to sponsor us, so that'll be good too. So looking forward to that.
yeah. All right. Well, let's close it out.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the Board Report. Remember to join us every Friday at 7 p.m. And if you have somebody you want to bring on as a guest to talk about anything in Indian River County, we more than welcome it. So
Good.
contact us and let us know.
All right. Cool. All
And
right.
of course, we've got TGI now every
Tuesday
Tuesday.
night. Yep. 8 o'clock Tuesday night, and then to the point on Wednesday at 8 o'clock.
So we got Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our three podcasts, and then Friday together. We're usually here.
Yep. Yeah. And then no Monday. We got to get one for Monday.
All right, guys. Have a good night.